So welcome back to part 3 of how to write sweet chord progressions. My name's Julian Bradley, I'm a jazz pianist, and in part 1 and 2 we looked at diatonic chords, 7th chords, modal interchange, tritone substitution, jazz piano chord voicings, and now in part 3 we're going to finish it off with one more technique called side slipping, and then we're going to start composing our own chord progressions together, and this will be the perfect recap of all of the techniques you've seen so far. So enjoy part 3, this is the payoff. We're going to go over to the piano and start making some really sophisticated music. And next we have one final technique which I want to show you. It's called side slipping, and side slipping is where you take a chord and the chord voicing and you shift it up a step or up a half step or down a whole step or down a half step. So sounds like this. We take our rootless chord voicing for C minor 7, position B. We could transpose it up a whole step like this. So you play C minor 9, D minor 9, C minor 9. We could go back, down. I'm just transposing every note in this chord voicing up a whole step. So you have to do this slowly if you're new to this, but pretty quickly you'll get to the point where your fingers just sort of do it. Like that. And side slipping is another way to take yourself out of key, just for one chord. The chord that you side slip is almost always going to be out of key, especially when you're using these rootless voicings. And in a moment we're going to start combining this side slipping with all of the other techniques like tritone substitution. We're now going to do some side slipping in there as well. Now one final sophisticated chord which you might want to use is going to be G dominant 7 altered. So this is going to be a really sophisticated sound, but I'm going to give you the shortcut here. It's basically going to be the same chord voicing that we looked at for the tritone substitution chord that precedes C minor 7. So we looked at this D flat dominant 7 and this voicing which was find the third, stack of fourths, add a half step. So you can actually use this same chord voicing that we took from D flat dominant 7. You can change the bass note to G, and it's just going to change the sound very slightly. The only thing different is the bass note. And sometimes this is going to be a stronger resolution to C minor, the 1 chord. So it's the same voicing, just a different bass note. Sometimes you want this chromatic bass resolution, like this, but other times you might want this more final sound with G in the bass. And when you do this, you're actually playing G7 altered, which is pretty much the most sophisticated scale you can use in jazz. We're not going to go into it now, but just remember this chord voicing and just changing the bass note to G. It will resolve nicely to C minor 7 with a rootless voicing. So here, G dominant 7, really all you have to do is build the chord for the D flat dominant 7 with tritone substitution, but then change the bass note to G. So it has this nice clashing sound. So we've now covered all of the sophisticated techniques which I use when I write my chord progressions, and I want to end the video by us just composing our own chord progressions together. I'll walk you through my thought process, and we're just going to be combining these different techniques which we've looked at. So we've looked at the diatonic chords, the 7 chords, and with the 7ths added. So that's going to be the foundation of our chord progressions. We're going to keep coming back to that familiar sound. But then on top of that, we're going to pepper in these other techniques. We're going to do some modal interchange, where we go to chords that are outside the key, like this D minor 7, this F major chord, this G dominant 7, for example. We're also going to add our rootless chord voicings, of course. So everything's going to sound much better when we use these rootless voicings. We also have our tritone substitution. In particular, I like to precede the 1 chord, C minor 7, by going up a half step, D flat 7 to C minor 7. And last of all, we have side slipping, which is another technique we can pepper in, where we just take the chord voicing and move it up or down by a whole step or a half step. So let's just start composing. Let's write a series of chord progressions where we start on the 1 chord, just to give some structure. We can start with C minor 7, rootless voicing, position B. And let's see where we want to go. Shall we do some side slipping downwards? Like this. Then we could do some tritone substitution to get to F. Like this. Rootless voicings. And tritone substitution to get back to C. Like this. Lots of chord progressions you're going to want to end on the 1 chord, C minor. That's how music works. We like to go away, but then we like to come back and end on the 1 chord. Most music will end on the 1 chord, so most of these chord progressions we're going to end on a C minor 7, and a lot of the time we're going to start on a C minor 7 as well. So that's one possibility. We could go up the scale. We could go to this D flat major chord, modal interchange, switching to a Phrygian sound. We could go up to F minor 7, diatonic chords here, just with nice chord voicings. So that was C minor 7, D flat major 7, F minor 7, A flat major 7, and C minor 7. Let's try a chord progression starting on a different chord. We could start on A flat major 7. So I'm going diatonic chord, tritone substitution, preceding the 1 chord, C minor 7, and then I'm doing side slipping, taking this C minor 7 voicing, going up a whole step to D minor 9. Now I've put together some free sheet music with this lesson, which is my 23 Suite chord progressions sheet music. You can download that for free at the link below, and that way you can really study the notes and the chord voicings which I use in these chord progressions. So to download that for free, just click on the link in the description. Now to end with, I just want to share a few final tips when you're composing chord progressions. One tip is to just use each chord once per chord progression. This is not a rule. There's certainly chord progressions I've written which use the same chord multiple times, but as a guideline, most of the time you want to keep changing the chord and to play each chord once in the chord progression. So if you've already played an A flat major 7 chord, you're going to look to change chord with each new chord. You don't usually want to come back to the same chord. Of course, you'll come back to that same chord if you're repeating the chord progression, but within the chord progression, you usually want each chord to be a new chord. So with all of my chord progressions, most of the time, each chord gets played once. Another tip is to vary the harmonic rhythm. So harmonic rhythm is the rhythm that you play your chords to. Basically, you want to make it interesting. Don't just play each chord on the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to get boring, it's not going to sound sophisticated. So to keep it sounding sophisticated, you want to vary the rhythm. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. So you want to change the rhythm, anticipate certain chords by playing them an eighth note early. Like that. So, really well done for making it through this 3-part series. Now, if you enjoyed this series, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. Make sure you don't miss out on future videos by subscribing to my channel. But most of all, make sure you download my free sheet music bundle. You'll get my 23 sweet chord progressions sheet music, which annotates all of these chord progressions. You can see the techniques in action. And I'm also going to include my chord voicing guide, which gives you 24 sweet jazz piano chord voicings, including these rootless chord voicings, but also with some additional fourth voicings and shells and open voicings. And you can use all of these in your compositions. So I hope you enjoyed this series. I hope to see you in a new video soon, and I might even post some bonus footage in the next few weeks from this lesson because I did cut out a lot. So there might be an additional 4th video. We'll see. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thank you so much for sticking with it, and I will see you in a new video soon.